It's Bev again. You know, the one with this book that hasn't been published yet. Okay, today I want to talk about two things. In general, why you should avoid eating bread, and in particular, why you should avoid anything with wheat in it or wheat bread, right? So, first of all, let's talk about the bread. And I have to say, I love bread. If I go to a restaurant, have a glass of wine, and the waiter comes along, puts a basket of bread in front of me, oh, look out, I'm going to eat the whole basket. I don't care what kind of bread it is. I love bread, but I never buy it for the house and I never eat it in the house. So let's talk about grains. When we think about bread, we know that they're made with grains, right? So a natural grain has three parts: the endosperm, the bran, and the germ. And the endosperm is carbohydrate, fine. The bran and the germ they're loaded with fiber, minerals, vitamins, and even some protein. But after being harvested, that grain, when the food industry gets a hold of it, it just strips out all of the bran and the germ and leaves only the endosperm. So there's not much nutrition there, right? It's mostly high calorie, refined flour and not very nutritious, as I say. But the food industry knows that you and I want to eat better food. So what does it do? It throws a whack of vitamins and minerals back into the refined flour, and it calls it enriched flour, hoping that you're going to like that. But it still has a very high glycemic index. And glycemic index is the measurement of how fast a food is converted into bloodstream sugar. And when you convert food into sugar, your body is going to have more insulin hormones, right? So glucose hormone, glucose sugar, insulin to deal with it. And insulin is fat making. So bit of a bad mix, right? But if you have to buy bread and you want to buy bread, buy sprouted bread, whole grain bread, cultured bread. You can make your own sourdough bread. You can look up recipes online. It's very good. Do practice portion control, contrary to me in the restaurant. And when you look at the ingredients lists, try to get at least 2 to 3 grams of fiber and no more than 1 to 2 grams of sugar per slice. And now let's get down to the wheat. Do avoid wheat flour. Wheat is, well, let's put it this way. If I gave you a slice of wheat bread and a slice of sweet cake, which one do you think your body would be better off dealing with in terms of blood sugar? I'm sure you're going to pick that slice of wheat bread, right? But you actually may be wrong. Both of them certainly are processed by the food industry, but let's look at the contents to see why that decision might not be what you think it should be. So first of all, wheat carbohydrate is a chain of branching glucose units, and they're called amylopectin A. And it is the most efficiently digestible amylopectin. There are 3. There's A, B, and C, but A is the most efficiently digested. And when you think of digesting something with sugar in it, like carbohydrates, you want to be inefficient in digesting that. You want it to arrive in your bloodstream more slowly so that you don't have to produce as much insulin and your body doesn't have to go crazy trying to react to that. The interesting thing is, for a piece of bread, a wheat bread, it doesn't matter if it's high fiber wheat bread or whether it's whole wheat bread or whether it's a white bread with wheat in it or a brown bread with wheat in it. They're all basically the same in terms of amylopectin A for your body. So it's really a super carbohydrate. That's my term for it, a super carb, because it's the most highly digested amylopectin that you can get. If I think of the other ones, B, you might find in bananas and potatoes, and C, you would find in beans. Well, what happens is A is completely digestible, B is partially digestible, and C is not digestible at all. You've heard beans, right? You don't digest them. Well, what happens is anything that you don't digest in B and C travels down to your intestines and is eaten by your very hungry probiotic bacteria. They're living, they have to eat. So the undigestible parts of B and C are not gone to waste. They're used by your bacteria. And this is good. So let's say you want foods that are, as I say, difficult for your body to digest in order to slow that sugar arrival. So modern wheat is quite different from ancient wheat, and that's because of this amylopectin A. That wasn't a problem for our ancestors. I mean, you know, lots of foods we eat were never around years ago, right? But this particular one is very difficult for your body in terms of insulin production. So back to your choice. Okay, we've got the cake and we have the bread. So you're thinking the bread, and I'm explaining why that bread, that wheat bread, is not good. The reason it's faster to sugar in a sense than that cake is that the cake is undoubtedly going to have fat in it. And fat, just like protein, slows the arrival of sugar into your bloodstream. And that's good. Now, I'm not suggesting every time you feel like a piece of toast that you run over and pick, you know, a slice of cake instead. Obviously, the cake has a lot of bad stuff in it, and it's obviously sweet, and it's going to have probably high fructose corn syrup and who knows what in it. So I'm pointing out that maybe you don't know why you're carrying extra fat or extra weight, because you're not making the right decisions, because maybe you don't have all the information that you need. So back to me. If I go into a restaurant, I'm on a motorcycle trip and I stop for lunch, and they only have sandwiches for lunch, yeah, I'm going to have a sandwich. So the waitress comes along, she says, well, you know, do you want whole wheat brown bread, or do you want white bread? Well, I always go for the white bread, because I know the white bread is just, you know, the same as the brown bread. They both have A, they're both bad, so I may as well pick the one I like the taste better. So I go for the white bread. And they always have white bread because everybody chooses the brown bread thinking it's better for them, right? Anyway, I eat my sandwich. I feel kind of guilty, but, you know, I look forward. I never look back. Anyway, what I want you to do is think about what I've said before you eat any bread, and please avoid any wheat bread. And that includes wheat pasta as well, because the issue is amylopectin A, and it's in any wheat product that you buy. Okay? So I'll see you in the next seminar.